mediate Ukraine peace talks, if only if the Vatican agrees to lead. As suggested by US President Donald Trump, the Vatican has shown interest, but no talks have been confirmed yet. In Washington, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio defended the administration's stance on Russia. He rejected claims that President Putin is stalling. Rubio told senators that Trump made no concessions to Moscow. He said US sanctions remain in place and military support for Ukraine continues. Rubio also expects Russia to present draft ceasefire terms within days. He believes the proposal will reveal Moscow's true intentions. Listen in to what Marco Rubio has said.
On the issue of Ukraine, here's what we can all agree on. There is no military solution to this crisis.
Right.
It will have to end in a negotiated settlement. And the fundamental challenge we have in Ukraine is this. Russia wants what they do not currently have and are not entitled to.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says new EU and UK sanctions will raise pressure on Russia. He urges tougher action on Russian oil, banks, and defense sectors. Zelenskyy insists sanctions are key to forcing Putin towards real peace talks. Here's what Zelenskyy has said.
Сьогодні є важливі рішення щодо санкцій. Новий європейський санкційний пакет вже 17-й. Це крок в правильному напрямку. І має бути взагалі стільки санкційних кроків, скільки потрібно, щоб Росія зацікавилась миром та відчула повну ціну за агресію та бажання затягнути війну.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak says pressure is key. He urged the US and Europe to push Russia harder with tough sanctions. He warned that without pressure, Moscow will avoid real negotiations. Here's what the Ukrainian presidential advisor has said.
Росія без тиску не буде ні на що йти, ні на які реалістичні переговори. А якщо, скажімо так, погоджуватись на умови Росії, вони є неприйнятними по природі своїй, тому що Росія висуває, знову ж таки, нереалістичні вимоги до України.
Simultaneously, Russia sent a clear signal in the skies. 2 Tu-95M bombers flew over the Barents Sea near Norway. A foreign military escorted the Russian planes during the 4-hour flight. The escort nation remains unnamed. Now we have guest joining us, Jim Rice, Professor of International Law, live joining us from Vigan's, Philippines. Thank you for joining us. How do international legal frameworks influence the legitimacy of mediation efforts in the Ukraine conflict, particularly with Italy and the Vatican even offering to mediate these peace talks?
If that's a question about the international legal framework, the answer is starkly simple. First of all, Putin and his forces should cease fire and withdraw from all of the territory that they illegally invaded and occupied since February 2022 in contravention of all of the principles of the United Nations. So that's the framework of international law. If you're asking me questions about international diplomacy, the answer would be slightly different, I suppose.
And Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has offered to mediate Ukraine peace talks contingent on Vatican involvement. How crucial is the role of religious and neutral entities like the Vatican in facilitating these peace negotiations in such high stakes conflicts?
Well, I think that the involvement of the Vatican and the Prime Minister Meloni can only be a good thing. It hasn't been tested yet. As we recall, Trump's campaign promise was that he could end the war in 24 hours. We're already 5 months in. Obviously, Trump didn't know what he was talking about, or he was lying in this case. So let us hope that Prime Minister Meloni and the Pope can help to mediate. However, I would suggest that Putin has no desire or no motivation for ending this war. And the reason that I say that is because if he were to end the war, if the war were to come to an end today, Putin would be ousted from office and would probably lose his life. He's staked his whole career on trying to erase Ukraine from the map and to try and reconstruct the Soviet Union.
Ukrainian President Zelenskyy has emphasized tougher sanctions on Russia's oil, banks, and defense sectors. In your opinion, do you see that economic sanctions alone have the power to force a significant change in Russia's position?
Well, maybe not alone, but I would agree that the sanctions are absolutely essential and they should be tightened. I noticed, sadly, that just yesterday Rubio, the U.S. Foreign Secretary, came out and said that they shouldn't resort to sanctions because it would discourage Russia. But Russia's been stalling and delaying and lying about this. First of all, entering into a ceasefire, which is absolutely essential, and secondly, entering into serious and realistic and sincere peace talks, which he has not done.
Last but not least, if Ukraine accepts mediation by a religious entity like the Vatican, could that influence future claims at international courts, such as the ICJ or ICC, regarding war conducts?
No, I really don't. I don't see it that way at all. I see that any kind of input as a mediator by the Pope or by another interested party or neutral party can only be a good thing. It doesn't diminish from traditional international mediation such as the International Court of Justice or the ICC, but it basically complements it, I would say.
Thank you so much for joining us.